a virgin child, come sing a song. Such a pretty melody, never heard before. No more.
So, a crisis. Insoluble problem. Major crisis. Both stepmothers want their names on the wedding invitation. Catherine adores her stepmother, who more or less brought her up. She wants her name on the invitation, she wants it, and her stepmother is not anticipating, which is understandable since the mother is dead, not appearing next to Catherine's father. Whereas my stepmother, whom I detest, it's out of the question that her name should appear on the invitation, but my father won't have his name on it if hers isn't. Unless Catherine's stepmother is left off, which is completely unacceptable. I suggested that none of our parents' names be on it. After all, we're not adolescents. We can announce our wedding and invite people ourselves. So Catherine screamed her head off, saying that would be a slap in the face to her parents, who had paid through the nose for the reception, and particularly to her stepmother, who had gone to so much trouble when she isn't even her daughter. So I finally let myself be persuaded, totally against my better judgment, because she wore me down. I finally agreed that my stepmother, whom I detest, who is a complete bitch, will have her name on the invitation.
So I called my mother to warn her. Mother, I said, I've done everything I can to avoid this, but it can't be helped. Yvonne's name has to be on the invitation. And she said, if Yvonne's name is on the invitation, then take mine off it. Mother, I said, please, I beg you, don't make things even more difficult. And she said, how dare you suggest that my name be left to float around the card on its own, as if I were some abandoned woman below Yvonne who'll be clamped onto your father's surname like a limpet. And I said, Mother, I have friends waiting for me. I'm going to hang up and we'll discuss all this tomorrow after a good night's sleep. And she said,
why is it that I'm always an afterthought? What are you talking about, Mother? You're not always an afterthought. Of course I am. And when you say don't make things even more difficult, what you mean is everything's already been decided. Everything's been organized without me. Everything's been cooked up behind my back. Good old Suzette, she'll agree to anything, and all this she said to put the old tin lid on it, in aid of an event the importance of which I'm having some trouble grasping. Mother, I have friends waiting for me. That's right, there's always something better to do. Anything's more important than I am. Goodbye. And she hung up. Catherine, who had been sitting next to me but who hadn't heard her side of the conversation, said, what did she say? She doesn't want her name on the invitation with Yvonne, which is understandable. I'm not talking about that. What was it she said about the wedding? Nothing. You're lying. I'm not, Kathy, I promise you. She just doesn't want her name on the invitation with Yvonne. Call her back and tell her when your son's getting married, you rise above your vanity. You could say the same thing to your stepmother. That's got nothing to do with it, Catherine shouted. It's me. I'm the one who's insisting her name's on it. It's not her, poor thing. She's tact personified. If she had any idea of the trouble this was causing, she'd be down on her knees, begging for her name to be taken off the invitation. Now call your mother. So I call her back. By now, Catherine is listening on the extension. Yvonne, my mother says, up until now you conducted your affairs in the most chaotic way imaginable, and all because, out of the blue, you've decided to embark on matrimony. I find myself obligated to spend all afternoon and evening with your father, a man I haven't seen for 17 years and to whom I was not expecting to have to reveal my hip size and my puffy cheeks. Not to mention Yvonne, who incidentally, I may tell you, according to Felix Perolari, has now taken up bridge. My mother also plays bridge.
I can see that none of this can be helped, but on the invitation, the one item everyone is going to receive and examine, I insist on making a solo appearance. Catherine, listening on the extension, shakes her head and screws up her face in disgust. Mother, I said, why are you so selfish?
I'm not selfish. I'm not selfish, Yvan. You're not gonna start as well. You're not gonna be like Madame Romero this morning and say that I have a heart of stone. That everyone in our family has a heart of stone. That's what Madame Romero said this morning when I refused to raise her wages. She's gone completely mad, by the way, to 60 francs an hour tax-free.
She had the gall to suggest that everyone in our family has a heart of stone when she knows full well about poor Andre's pacemaker. You haven't even bothered to drop him a line. Oh, that's right. Very funny. Everything's a joke to you. It's not me who's the selfish one, Yvan. You've still got a lot to learn about life.
Off you go, my boy. Go on, go and see your precious friends.